Today we'll discuss about nervous system. Nervous system is very important in helping to maintain the homeostasis and balance of the human body. Nervous system is very important in helping to maintain the balance or homeostasis of the human body. A series of sensory receptors work with the nervous system to provide information about changes in both the internal and external environment. So, the nervous system which is very important in our body, it is made up of specialized cells called neurons. So, neurons are the functional units of nervous system. So, this human nervous system is a complex of interconnected systems in which larger systems are comprised of smaller subsystems, each of which have specific structures with specific function. So, these nervous system may be divided into two: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. So, CNS and PNS. So, the human body consists of numerous tissued organs and that are all entirely different in structure and function. So, the nervous system integrates and coordinates various activities of other organ system. So, it will be controlling other organ systems. It controls muscle contractions, secretions of hormones from glands, rate and depth of respiration, and cardiac activities and gastrointestinal activities. And also it is involved in modulating and regulating a multitude of other physiological processes. So, let us see the classification. So, nervous system has been divided into two: central nervous system, that is CNS, peripheral nervous system, that is PNS. Under central nervous system, brain and spinal cord will come. Under peripheral nervous system, there are motor neurons and sensory neurons. So, motor neurons, under motor neurons, somatic nervous system, autonomic nervous system. So, again autonomic nervous system has been divided into two: sympathetic and parasympathetic. So, let us see in depth what is this central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So, as I said that all bodily activities, voluntary and involuntary, which are controlled by nervous system. So, there are two major components: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. This central nervous system is made up of brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system is made up of all the nerves including sensory and motor nerves. Okay. Let us see central nervous system. So, the central nervous system is composed of two major interconnected organs called brain and spinal cord. So, these organs work together to integrate and coordinate sensory and motor information for the purpose of controlling the various tissues, organs and organ systems of the body. As I said, it will be controlling another organs of the body. So, this nervous system, this brain and central nervous system, brain and spinal cord will work together to coordinate or integrate sensory and motor information. So, to control various tissues, organs system of the body. And central nervous system is responsible for higher neural functions such as memory, learning and emotion. So, this central nervous system also responsible for memory, learning and emotion. Let us see brain. So, brain weight about 3 pounds in adult, 75% of water will be there in the brain It consists of 75% of water, 20% of oxygen, and contains over 100 billion neurons, and controls bodily function and interaction with the outside the world. So, brain is the part of central nervous system which lies within the cavity of the skull. So, it has some following parts. First, cerebrum, then cephalons, brain system and cerebellum. So, let us see what is this cerebrum, diencephalon, brainstem and cerebellum. First, let us see brainstem. So, see this brainstem. Brainstem made up of midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, as I showed here. Midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. So, this part. So, this is midbrain, this is pons, this is medulla oblongata. Made up of the this pons and the medulla oblongata, this midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. So, let us see, this midbrain is involved with visual reflexes. Whatever visual functions by the brain, so visual, it is responsible for the visual reflexes, midbrain. And pons is located between the midbrain and the medulla oblongata. As you can see here, it is situated between the midbrain and also medulla oblongata. So, it controls certain respiratory function and medulla oblongata. This contains centers that regulate heart and lung functioning and also swallowing, coughing, vomiting and sneezing. So, these are all responsible with medulla oblongata. So, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, which is for midbrain is for visual reflexes, pons for certain respiratory functions, medulla oblongata for swallowing, coughing, vomiting and sneezing and certain lung function. Cerebellum next. So, the area, you can see this area that coordinate musculoskeletal movements to maintain posture, balance and muscle tone, and inferior to the occipital lobes of the cerebrum. So, it is in this is cerebrum. So, inferior to the cerebrum it is situated and posterior to the pons and medulla oblongata. So, posterior to the pons, medulla oblongata. So, this you can see, this is cerebral. So, this is situated posterior to the pons and medulla oblongata and inferior to the cerebrum. Right. So, next we will see cerebrum. Cerebrum located above the cerebellum. So, which we have seen. So, this is brainstem, this is cerebellum. So, this is cerebrum. So, cerebrum located above the cerebellum contain two hemispheres with an outer portion called the cerebral cortex. So, it has been divided into two hemispheres separated and the outer portion is called cerebral cortex. The two hemispheres are connected by a bridge of nerve fiber that relay information between the two hemispheres called the corpus callosum. The left and right lobes are each divided into four lobes or parts of parietal bone: frontal lobe, temporal and occipital. So, frontal portion is a frontal, then temporal and occipital. Diencephalon. Next is the diencephalon, the deep portion of the brain containing thalamus, hypothalamus, epithalamus, ventral thalamus. So, it serves as a relay center for sensations like heart rate, blood pressure, temperature control, behavioral responses, digestive functions, water and electrolyte balance. Next we will see spinal cord. So we have seen brain, so in that parts we have discussed. Next let's move to spinal cord. Spinal cord, it extends from the medulla oblongata of the brain to the area around the first lumbar vertebrae in the lower back. So let's see the picture. So you can see here, this is spinal cord, so which is situated, extends from the medulla oblongata of the brain and to the area around the first lumbar vertebrae in the lower back. The nerves from the peripheral nervous system extend out from the spinal cord. What are all the nerves which is situated, that will be extending out from the spinal cord. So you can see in this picture, see these are the nerves, the small teeny structures you can see, these are the nerves which will be extend out from the spinal cord. So this spinal cord is protected by vertebral column. So these are the vertebrae, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, coccygeal vertebrae you can see, right. So it will be protected by this vertebrae. And cerebrospinal fluid and meninges. So meninges are the three layers of the membrane that cover the brain as well as spinal cord. So we'll discuss about cerebrospinal fluid also. The vertebral column, cerebrospinal fluid, meninges. Meninges are the three layers of the membranes that cover the brain and spinal cord. So that layers of the meninges. First one is the outer coverage is called as dura mater. The arachidoid matter, middle web-like membrane containing CSF fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid, that is arachidoid matter. Then pia mater, innermost layer containing several blood vessels, that is pia mater. So this meninges has three layers. So that is about the central nervous system. So under central nervous system we have seen brain and spinal cord. Let's see peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system is a collection of peripheral nerves, ganglia and specialized sensory structure that as a system carries sensory and motor information between the central nervous system and all the organs and tissues of the body. So here it is carrying all the information from the central CNS to the another parts of the body, another organs of the body. So the peripheral nervous system is functionally divided into two major divisions. As I said previously, the sensory and motor division. So somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So peripheral nervous system consists of 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So these 12 pairs of cranial nerves are here we have given functions and names of the cranial nerves. So olfactory nerve, first one is the olfactory which is responsible for sense of smell. Second one is the optic nerve which is responsible for sense of vision. Third one is the oculomotor, it is responsible for eye movement. Trochlear, which aids the muscle that move the eyes. Trigeminal nerve which is responsible for eyes, tear glands, scalp, forehead, teeth, gums, lips and mouth muscle. So it will be coordinating all this. Abducens nerve for the muscle coordination, and facial nerve for the taste, facial expressions, tear and salivary glands. Next, vestibulocochlear nerve for hearing and equilibrium. Glossopharyngeal nerve, pharynx, tonsils, tongue and carotid arteries stimulates the salivary glands. And vagus nerve which is responsible for speech, swallowing, heart muscles, smooth muscles and certain glands. Next is the accessory nerve which is responsible for muscles of the soft palate, pharynx, larynx and neck. Final one, 12th cranial nerve is a hypoglossal nerve which is responsible for the tongue movement. Suppose if any of the nerve is not working properly or has been damaged, so that functions, suppose hypoglossal nerve has been damaged, so there is will be a difficulty in movement of tongue. So these are the cranial nerves which are responsible for these sort of functions. Next is the somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is responsible for receiving and processing sensory input from the skin, muscle, tendons, joints, eyes, tongue, nose and ears, as well as excite the voluntary contractions of skeletal muscles. And autonomic nervous system, which carries impulses from the central nervous system to the glands, various smooth muscles, cardiac muscle and various membranes, and also it stimulates organs, glands and senses. So these are the functions of somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So this is about the nervous system. So let us have a quick summary. So nervous system, which is very important in helping to maintain the balance of the human body, which has been divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Under central nervous system we have discussed about brain and spinal cord. So brain, which contain 4 parts: cerebrum, diencephalon, brainstem and cerebellum, and spinal cord. So spinal cord, which is extending from the medulla oblongata of the brain to the area around the first lumbar vertebrae. So area around the first lumbar vertebrae. So it has meninges, outer coverage layers, which has again 3 layers. The meninges, which will be covering brain as well as spinal cord, it has 3 more layers: dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater. Peripheral nervous system, under this somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system will come. Under this peripheral nervous system there are 12 cranial nerves, and we discussed about somatic and autonomic nervous system and their functions. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please let me know.